Okay, I'm just going to create a new document. To do that, you go to File, New. Okay, now here's the previous file. If you want, you can press close and then don't save it. I'm not going to save it. Okay, so here's the new document. Now this size that you see is full HD. So to change that, you have to go to File, Project Settings. This is how you change the width and height. Okay, I have not selected full HD anyway. So, and if I select 1080, this is full HD. As you can see, you can press save as default. That means this is the one that is going to be the default document that opens every single time when you press File, New. So with height, the frame rate, let it be at 24. It's easy to animate in 24 compared to 30 because in 30 you have lots of more frames to work with. So the less frame it is, the less easy. And also don't go to 12 or something, it will be more choppier. If you need it to look like a very old cartoon or something, if you want to make something like that, then I highly recommend put it to 12 or something, which saves you a lot of time. But default 24, let's leave it as it is. Now this one is the working space. Okay, start time is 1 right here, and then 240. I can't see it at the moment because I have to scroll horizontally and then show you the 240, but you can reduce this to, let's say, 100. So let's leave it at 100 because we need a small loop. When you're working on small animations and everything, you are a beginner, so it will loop right here. When it reaches here, it's going to loop again. So let's put it at 100. And if you need to enable depth of field, the blurriness, you can enable that as well. And that's mostly about it for now. And the background color, right, you can make sure that it's something like a gray color. Okay, a little bit of gray there, and press save as default and you press OK. So now if I go to File, New, this document is full HD. Okay, now let's learn how to create some shapes. So first of all, you can see right here, this is the vector icon. This means it is a vector layer. To create a vector layer, you press this new button and then choose vector. To create the shape, make sure the layer is selected and press this button right here. It's the create shape tool and it is the letter S. Okay, draw shape. So here you can see all of these shapes available. So if I draw a rectangle, and to create a new layer, press this button and press vector, and this is only possible while you are in frame 0. So make sure you are in frame 0. So now once we have selected the layer 2, you can maybe draw a circle. Alright, so now how do we change the color of these two? You need the style panel open, so go to window and make sure style panel is selected. Also now let's say the circle is selected, this is the one, the correct layer is selected. If I want to, I have selected this, as you can see. Now if you press here and change to a different color, and if you press OK, you can't really see the change because it is not changed even for this same thing. So if you select this and now if you choose a different color, it's not going to work that way. So in order to change the color of a shape, you always have to select this tool, the select shape tool. So right now I have selected this box, and for you it will look like this. See, checker selection. When it's turned on, you will see the check boxes like this. That means this shape is selected and it is ready to change the color. So while the checker selection is showing like this, with this tool selected, while you have clicked on this box, now press here to change to a different color and press OK. Now this checker selection is not that good because it is disturbing the view of the color, so it's always best to disable it, and now you can clearly see that color. Also now if you want to select this one, just hold down Alt and right click. So we have selected the layer 2, or you might have to do it manually. So I have selected layer 2. Now click on this white and you can give it a color. Also you can add the stroke, you can increase the stroke thickness, and let's say you want the stroke color to be red, then click drag on the eyedropper and let it go on the red so that the red gets there. If you want to change the outline to a different brush, select this no brush and then you can pick your own brush and then press OK. If you see less options here, make sure that the advanced is ticked. So if it's ticked, it is going to show you more of the settings. Now let's talk about effect 1 and effect 2. So while this shape is selected, I'm going to select the other one. Okay, I'm going to select the other one. Now if with this tool selected, you can't really select that shape. See, it's not getting selected because here I have not selected that circle. So make sure here it is selected. Now you will be able to select, but once again I can't select this box because it is not selected here. But what you can do is you can hold down Alt and you can right click. Now the circle is selected. Now you can click on here. So if you hold down the Alt button and when you right click on a layer, that layer will get selected. Notice what's happening here when I Alt right click on each of these. So this is one of the quickest way to select. If not, it's really annoying because now if I use the select shape tool and if I click on the box, it is not getting selected because it is not selected in my layers panel. So you have to go to your layers panel, click right here, and then you can do select it and work on it. So first Alt right click on the circle, now click on the circle, it will get selected. So remember this shortcut key, this is one of the most useful shortcut keys in the entire Moho because it will save you a lots of time. Okay, so I'm just going to delete this box, and now how do I move the circle right here? Because I don't see the select shape tool like in Photoshop or Illustrator. So how do we really do that? We can do that by this select point. So G is a shortcut key. Select points will allow you to select all of these points. So in Moho, these points are just called as points, but in Illustrator or Photoshop, it is called as anchor points. So they are almost the same. So what you do is when this tool is selected, you can just click drag to select those points, right? And then the points are selected all together. And also you can select the points with lasso mode, right? When lasso mode is selected, now you can, let's say I want to select only these 2 points, can go around and then only these 2 points are selected. Maybe these 2 points like this or the other two like this. When the lasso mode is disabled, you can make a box selection like this. Now to move them around, what you do is go for the other tool. Okay, see, it's the transform point. The other one is the transform, I mean select the point. If you select the points, you are now able to move the points, right? So transform points, and now you can see the bounding box, and then you can make sure to make it bigger or just click drag to move them. And then of course when you move your mouse right here, you can click drag to rotate it. Okay, so it's really convenient. So you will also see if I create one more layer, okay, one more layer, I'm going to go and create a triangle. Right now I have two triangle and this. So the tool that you see in Photoshop is the selection tool, or the move tool in Photoshop is this one right here, layer selector. Now it doesn't have a shortcut key, as you can see. Layer selector will select the layer and you can see here, but I highly recommend never use the layer selector because the shortcut key for the layer selector, the method to select layers is just, I just told you, it is Alt right click, which does the same thing as this layer selector. Layer selector, don't use this, instead use the shortcut key. So with this you can just Alt right click and move it around, Alt right click and click on it one time and move it around. So one more time, let's say I want to move the triangle here with this tool selected. Okay, with the point tool selected, you right click, Alt right click on the triangle. Now if the bounding box is showing to you, just click drag it down. I'm going to do the same thing on the circle. I'm going to hold down Alt right click, and sometimes if it is highlighting the points like this, now don't click drag because it's going to move those points. So what I want you to do is click in the middle of the blue right here, and it is going to give you that transform control, or you can say bounding box. Now you can just click drag to move them around. So I find that this is one of the easiest ways to move the shapes. Now for the effect one, so the triangle is selected, Alt right click on the circle to select it. Now you can add some effects, but this effects won't work. So if I open this and let's say I want to add, let's say a gradient, or let's say I want to add some shading. So if I go to shaded, and then as you can see the shading here, you can rotate the shading, and once you press OK, it won't get applied. So this is the biggest problem for beginners because when this layer is selected, you can't really go here and apply anything. You will also change the color. That is why I told this in the first place, that you need to make sure you press Q and make sure shape selector is selected, this tool, and select the shape, and now you have to do the change. This is the only difference between, I think, the rest of the tools and Moho. You have to make sure this tool is selected. If you want to change its appearance, make sure this tool is selected. While you are on any other tool, any of these tools is not going to work. So make sure you are in this exact tool to alter the appearance of a shape. So once this is selected, now I will go to effect 1 and then give a shading to this, maybe this one, and once I press OK, and see, I can't really see the shading, right? This is the main reason why I told to disable this checker selection. So now I can freely see the change easily. So effect 1, also press this button to change it again. So the direction, I can see a live preview. That's really cool. So and I can make it go much more in. I can do the offset, or I can increase the blur. Maybe I'll increase the blur, and the offset I would like to, yeah, that's fine. Okay, maybe the blur you can reduce. It's really cool. And the color, of course, and then press OK. It's going to get applied. Next you have the effect 2. On top of this you can add, let's say, a gradient. So open gradient, and now you are able to give a gradient like this. Okay, so let's change the color here. So I'll select this and I will change its color to, let's say, red, and then press OK. The other one, okay, so you can click here to add more points, and yeah, you can select and press the delete button to delete. You can also double click on the black to change it to a different color. Alright, so you have a gradient like this. I'll change the red to a different color because here this setting is red. I mean, this circle is red. So once you're done, of course you can put it to radial and other ones if you want to, but I'm just going to put it linear and press OK. Now you can click drag on this and that one to spread. You can change the angle now like this. Alright, you can do something like this. Now I have applied two effects on top of this. So the effect 1 is the shaded and another one is the gradient. If you want to, you can change it to the image texture and drop shadow. I'm just going to go to drop shadow, and here's the drop shadow. Like if you have used any other softwares like Photoshop or Illustrator, you know exactly how this is going to work. So I'm not going to talk about it much. Finally, let's talk about the stroke. I'm going to select the triangle by alt right clicking on it, right? And then one click on it to select it. Now enable stroke, and this is the different strokes that you have. So press no brush and then choose a stroke that you like. Okay, and then you can control the spacing. You can see the live preview in both places. So that's the spacing. Now the spacing is too far away. You can increase that, and then you have different brushes. Let's say you have, if you maybe for this brush, if you decide to do any of these change, maybe the size variation or jitteriness or the color or anything that you like to change. If you like to save it, press save brush, and it's going to create a new brush right here at the bottom. Of course you can press save brush and give a name, and it's going to show it to you. So these are all the awesome default brushes that is available in Moho. Of course you can load brushes from even Photoshop brushes. You are able to load here. That's awesome, and it's really cool. And you can give none for the default one. So there are more awesome features here. We will learn them later, but this one is very interesting. So if I enable line boil, you can't really see the change, but if you press OK, if you press space bar, you can see that it is creating us a difference in the stroke, and it looks like the stroke is animated, but it is not really animated, but it's really cool if you want to create, let's say, some sort of a shadow look or something on this. I'm just going to select the circle and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to open for the shaded, and I'm going to give plain because I will give my own shading. Okay, drop shadow also I'm going to remove. And now, while maybe you can create a new layer. Okay, so yeah, let's create a new layer. You can't really create or do any designing, editing or anything while you're in a frame. Okay, so as you can see, I am in a frame called 40. So between one to any other frame, if you are in here, it is not going to work. You can't do any drawing and everything. You have to be on frame 0 to do any designing, to do any type of designing work be in frame 0. Just move your slider here to frame 0. Now you will be able to create a new vector layer. So this one I'm just going to put it to the top, and this one let's double click on it, and you can change the name here, or you can select it and click on the name one more time and you can type shading. Okay, so this is that shading layer, and now here you have some drawing tools such as the I think the blob brush, and then you have the freehand drawing tool. So using this, let's say you are drawing something like this, a shading, okay, something like this. Okay, now you can select it. Of course you have to select it with this tool. While that is selected, you can go in, of course you can increase the thickness and anything, and then press right here and change it to a different brush stroke. Yeah, so as you can see, it goes out of the circle. Let's say you want this stroke to be only inside the circle. For that you have to create something called as a clipping mask. Let's learn about that later, but for now what I'm trying to say is, if you just play now with that boil selected, I'll just go again to 0, and while it is selected, it's already selected, so that we can enable line boil, and now you can see we have something like this. Now I know it's not perfect because we have to draw it properly, we have to reduce the opacity and strength of it to give that texture effect, but this texture effect is like moving. See, it is animated. On the next lesson, let's learn how to use the timeline, how to create basic keyframes, how to do basic animations.